It started with a single Facebook post. Late one evening, Emily Carter was scrolling through her notifications when she spotted something unusual. A friend of a friend had shared a photo from a local charity event. Front and center was her husband, Matt, smiling with his arm around another woman and two young children. At first, Emily thought it was an innocent misunderstanding. Maybe someone had tagged the wrong person. But as she stared at the image, her heart sank. Matt wasn't just in the photo. He looked completely at ease, like he belonged there. The woman had her hand on his shoulder. The kids leaned into him, and one of the comments below read, "Such a beautiful family."
Ready to enter today's mystery maze? Like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more cases like this. Drop a comment below and let us know what you think.
Emily Carter met Matt 6 years ago through a mutual friend. From the moment they were introduced, Matt seemed like everything she'd ever wanted. Charismatic, attentive, and a devoted family man. They quickly became inseparable, and within a year, they were married in a small ceremony, surrounded by friends and family. Emily often described their relationship as storybook perfect. Matt worked as a sales consultant for a regional hardware company, which required frequent travel across neighboring towns. Emily didn't mind the occasional long hours or overnight trips. She trusted him implicitly. He always returned with thoughtful souvenirs, pictures of hotel stays, and stories about demanding clients. They settled into a cozy suburban life and, 3 years into their marriage, welcomed their son, Caleb. Matt's charm extended beyond their home. Neighbors adored him. Caleb's teachers thought he was a doting dad, and Emily's friends often said she was lucky to have a man like Matt. From the outside looking in, their lives seemed idyllic. 20 minutes across town in a slightly older neighborhood, Michelle Turner had a similar story to tell about her husband, Mark Turner. She described Mark as a hard-working family man, always going the extra mile for her and their 2 children, Ava and Liam. He was dependable, supportive, and never missed Ava's ballet recitals or Liam's soccer games. Michelle worked part-time as a dental assistant, leaving Mark as the primary breadwinner. His job in corporate consulting took him on frequent trips out of town, but Michelle trusted him wholeheartedly. He called her every night from the road, texting goodnight messages to the kids and even helping them with homework over video calls. For Michelle, her world revolved around their family of 4, and for Mark, it seemed, that was all part of the plan. Emily couldn't shake the unease from the Facebook photo. She decided to confront Matt that night. "Hey, do you know anything about this?" she asked, sliding her phone across the table. Matt barely glanced at it before brushing it off. "Oh yeah, that's for work," he said casually. "That's a colleague and her kids. We did a team charity thing last week. I meant to tell you." His explanation sounded reasonable enough, but something in his tone felt rehearsed. Still, Emily didn't press further, until a few days later, when the same woman's name appeared in an email notification on Matt's laptop. It wasn't work-related. It was a receipt for flowers he had sent to her. Emily's heart raced as she clicked through his email history, uncovering more purchases, gifts, restaurant reservations, and even a stay at a luxury hotel, all signed with the name Mark Turner. The sinking feeling in her chest turned into a storm of questions. Who was this woman? And who was Mark Turner? After discovering the receipt for flowers, Emily couldn't ignore her suspicions. Late that night, after Matt had fallen asleep, she searched his wallet and found a driver's license with his photo, but a different name, Mark Turner. Beneath it, there was a credit card with the same alias. Her hands trembled as she flipped through his stack of business cards, where the name Mark Turner appeared under a fake consulting firm. Emily decided she needed proof before confronting him again. She began digging through his phone while he was in the shower. most of his messages and emails were innocuous, until she found an archived folder titled Work Docs. Inside were photos of the woman from the Facebook post, smiling alongside Matt, or Mark, and 2 children. Emily's instincts told her to stay calm. She took screenshots of everything she found and forwarded them to her own email for safekeeping. Then she turned to social media. Searching the name Mark Turner led her to Michelle Turner's Instagram account. As she scrolled through photos of family outings, birthday parties, and holiday celebrations, she realized Michelle and her children had no idea about Matt's secret life, or that Emily and Caleb even existed. Over the next few weeks, Emily began paying closer attention to Matt's habits. She noticed patterns in his travel schedule and excuses, monthly sales conferences that always seemed to fall on the same weekends. Friday afternoons spent meeting clients stretched well into the night. Even his phone calls to her during his trips felt forced, like he was trying to perform normalcy. One Friday evening, when Matt said he'd be late, Emily decided to follow him. She loaded Caleb into the car and tailed him from a discreet distance. He didn't head toward the office or a client meeting. Instead, he drove across town and parked in front of a modest brick house. Emily watched in disbelief as a young boy ran out to greet him, yelling, "Daddy!" She barely managed to stay composed as she drove away. Caleb, oblivious in the back seat, hummed along to the car radio. Emily's mind raced. How long had this been going on? Did he marry Michelle too? How many lies had he told? Determined to learn the truth, Emily hired a private investigator. Within a week, the PI uncovered what Emily feared most. Matt, aka Mark Turner, had been legally married to Michelle for over a decade, 2 years before he met Emily. He had 2 separate families, 2 sets of children, and 2 completely fabricated lives. The investigator's report detailed how Matt split his time. Mondays through Wednesdays, he stayed with Emily, working his sales job and attending Caleb's school events. Thursdays through Sundays, he became Mark Turner, living in the Turner household, coaching Little League games, and hosting family barbecues. His deception went deeper than Emily imagined. His social security number and employment history were fake. Even his stories about traveling for work had been crafted to explain his constant need to switch between homes. While Emily's life unraveled, Michelle remained blissfully unaware. She posted Instagram updates about her wonderful husband, unaware that his time with her was carefully scheduled. In one post, she captioned a photo of Matt with the kids. "Couldn't ask for a better dad. We're so lucky to have him." But cracks were beginning to show. Michelle noticed Matt's absences growing longer and more frequent. He forgot small but significant details, like the date of Ava's recital or Liam's favorite breakfast. When she confronted him about his distracted behavior, he claimed work stress was getting to him. "It's just the job," he said, flashing his disarming smile. "You know I'd do anything for you and the kids." The breaking point came when Emily couldn't keep quiet any longer. She reached out to Michelle directly. Using a burner phone, she sent a message. "Hi, Michelle. I don't know how to say this, but I believe we are married to the same man. Please call me." Michelle ignored the message at first, thinking it was spam. But curiosity got the better of her. When she finally called the number, Emily laid everything bare. The Facebook post, the receipts, the PI's findings, and the photos. Michelle was silent for a long moment before whispering, "This has to be some kind of mistake." Emily offered to meet her in person, bringing all the evidence. A week later, they sat across from each other in a coffee shop, both trembling as Emily slid a folder of photos and documents across the table. When Michelle saw the proof, tears streamed down her face. "That's my husband," she whispered. "That's our home." Emily and Michelle joined forces, determined to confront Matt together. They decided to catch him during one of his business trips. Armed with evidence and steely resolve, they planned a meeting at Michelle's house on a Friday evening when Matt was supposed to return from his conference. Emily parked a few houses down while Michelle waited inside. As Matt walked through the front door, calling out his usual, "Hey, I'm home," Michelle stepped into the hallway, her expression icy. "You're not home, Matt," she said. "Or should I call you Mark?" Before Matt could respond, Emily entered the house, carrying a folder full of incriminating evidence. The color drained from Matt's face as he realized the walls were closing in. "I can explain," he stammered. But neither woman was interested in hearing excuses. Michelle demanded he leave immediately, while Emily told him she'd already filed for divorce and planned to expose everything.
Are you lost in the maze? Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more unsolved mysteries. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments.
The fallout from Matt's double life was swift and devastating. Emily filed for divorce, citing fraud and emotional abuse. Michelle followed suit, ending her decade-long marriage. Both women filed restraining orders to protect their children from further manipulation. As word of the scandal spread, Matt's web of lies unraveled further. His employer discovered he had falsified his resume and used company funds to support his second household. He was fired immediately and faced an investigation for embezzlement. Friends and neighbors were stunned. How could someone they trusted so completely live such a duplicitous life? During the divorce proceedings, even more shocking details emerged. Matt had not only fabricated his identity as Mark Turner, but also lied about his past. His sales consultant job never existed. He earned money by flipping properties and forging financial documents. The house Emily and Caleb lived in was in foreclosure, something Matt had hidden by intercepting all the mail. Michelle discovered that Matt had taken out loans in her name without her knowledge, leaving her with thousands of dollars in debt. He had even borrowed money from mutual friends, spinning elaborate tales about medical emergencies and business investments. The scope of his lies seemed endless. The story of Matt's double life went viral after Emily and Michelle shared their experiences on social media to warn others. Posts detailing his schemes circulated on Facebook, Instagram, and even TikTok, where the hashtag #DoubleLifeDad gained millions of views. Users shared similar stories of betrayal and deception, sparking widespread discussions about trust and the importance of verifying people's identities. True crime vloggers and Reddit forums dissected the timeline of Matt's lies, turning him into an infamous cautionary tale. Some users even tracked down other women Matt had dated under different aliases, revealing that his double life might have extended beyond Emily and Michelle. Matt's deception finally caught up with him in court. He faced charges of fraud, forgery, and financial crimes. The judge condemned his actions as calculated and cruel, sentencing him to prison. For Emily and Michelle, seeing Matt in handcuffs was bittersweet. They had lost years of their lives to his lies, but they were determined to rebuild for the sake of their children. In the aftermath, Emily and Michelle formed an unexpected friendship. They became each other's support system, navigating the challenges of single parenthood and rebuilding their lives. Their children, too, developed a bond, finding comfort in shared experiences. Michelle summarized their resilience in a viral post. "We were deceived, but we refused to let his lies define us. This is the beginning of our story, not the end." As news of Matt's double life spread through the town, the community reacted with disbelief and outrage. Neighbors who had once praised Matt for being a model husband and father were horrified to learn about his deception. Local newspapers ran stories under headlines like, Double life exposed, husband maintained two families in the same town, and the man who fooled us all. Parents at Caleb's school organized a fundraiser to support Emily, knowing she was now a single mother facing financial hardship. Meanwhile, Michelle's friends and colleagues rallied around her, helping her with childcare and assisting her in untangling the financial mess Matt had left behind. Caleb, Ava, and Liam, Matt's innocent victims, struggled to make sense of what had happened. For Caleb, it was a shock to learn that the father he idolized had another family. Ava and Liam, on the other hand, grappled with the betrayal of discovering their father wasn't the man they thought he was. Both Emily and Michelle prioritized their children's well-being, enrolling them in therapy to help them process the trauma. Surprisingly, the kids bonded over their shared experiences. Over time, Caleb began spending weekends with Ava and Liam, forming a sibling-like connection that offered a silver lining to an otherwise heartbreaking situation. For Emily, rebuilding her life meant starting from scratch. She took a part-time job at a local bakery while pursuing an online degree in marketing, determined to create a stable future for herself and Caleb. Michelle sold her house and moved into a smaller rental, focusing on providing a nurturing environment for her children. The women's shared experience became a source of strength. They created a joint blog called Unmasking the Truth, where they shared their journey of healing and warned others about the dangers of ignoring red flags. Their posts resonated with thousands of readers, many of whom shared similar stories of betrayal. The viral nature of Matt's story sparked a national conversation about online safety and trust. True crime podcasts and YouTube channels dissected the case, analyzing how Matt used technology to maintain his lies. Some episodes featured interviews with Emily and Michelle, who emphasized the importance of digital vigilance, such as monitoring shared finances and verifying personal details in relationships. The hashtag #DoubleLifeDad became a cautionary tale across platforms like TikTok and Instagram, with users creating memes, reenactments, and discussions about spotting potential red flags in relationships. Though the attention was overwhelming at times, Emily and Michelle used the platform to advocate for stronger penalties against fraud and deception in personal relationships. Matt was sentenced to 7 years in prison for fraud, forgery, and embezzlement. While his victims hoped for justice, they knew the scars he left behind would take longer to heal. From his prison cell, Matt reportedly attempted to contact both women, but they refused to respond. They had already taken steps to sever all ties with him, determined to leave his manipulation in the past. Years later, Emily and Michelle reflected on how their lives had changed since the revelation. Though the journey had been painful, both women emerged stronger and more self-reliant. Their children, now teenagers, thrived in their new blended family dynamic. One evening, as Emily watched Caleb and Liam toss a football in the yard, she felt a sense of peace. She turned to Michelle and said, "It's crazy, but maybe we were meant to find each other through all this." Michelle nodded, adding, "We turned his betrayal into something good. That's what matters." The story of Matt's double life remains a chilling reminder that deception can lurk in the most unsuspecting places. For Emily and Michelle, it became a mission to educate others about recognizing and addressing manipulation. Their blog, Unmasking the Truth, evolved into a full-fledged organization, offering resources for those affected by relationship fraud. As the years passed, the town moved on, but the cautionary tale of Matt's betrayal remained etched in local memory. For Emily and Michelle, the pain of the past was undeniable, but so was their resilience. Together they built new lives defined not by Matt's lies, but by their unwavering strength and the bond they had forged in the aftermath.
Thanks for joining us in the maze today. If you enjoyed this case, Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Leave a comment below, and we'll see you in the next case.